back, everyone. Today's a big day, really big, like super big. If I were going to give you an idea of how big this day is, I'd have to compare it to my biggest plush. This is Spud Tom, and he is very big, and he's amazing. He can do all the things that normal potatoes do. Normal plush potatoes, that is.
Like most plush potatoes, Spud Tom spent a lot of his time sitting on furniture, or being furniture. Hey now, simmer down there, buddy. One day he was sitting in a wagon and realized he had a need for speed. He tried motorcycles, but he couldn't reach the handles. Cars were the next best thing, but apparently it's illegal for plush potatoes to drive. A cautionary tale for all plush potatoes.
We're not here to talk about Spud Tom's finer points or his remarkable talents. We are here to talk about something equally as huge, threading your machine. Now, why is this so big? Well, because once you thread your machine, there's nothing to stop you from becoming the sewist you've always wanted to be. You'll be locked and loaded, ready for action. So let's get to it. I'm gonna take a moment to talk to you about thread. Now, thread is not something that you want to skimp on. You need to get good thread, quality thread. If you get bad thread, it puts a lot of wear and tear on the machine, because if it's not feeding correctly because there's wispies or it's not really that quality, it'll drag on the machine, and it makes the motor work a whole lot harder. So first of all, it's bad because it puts extra stress on your machine. But second of all, and this is probably the one you'll notice first, is that it'll break. It's not strong enough, and so in the middle of your project you'll be sewing along and then all of a sudden there's a broken thread, or it'll gum up and it'll get thread junk and garbage all over the place. You do not want that in your project. So I recommend the Coats & Clark, which is usually reliable, and I sew with Coats & Clark all the time, or Gutermann, which is a step beyond. It comes in little spools like this, and Gutermann is an excellent brand, and you can feel safe with both of those. Now, the first thing you're going to need is this bobbin and some thread. I'm going to use this dark green so that you can see it very easily. Turn your machine on. Take the bobbin, put it on the bobbin winder, and push it to the right. Okay, now we're going to take this thread and put it on the thread spool. But there's a trick about it. You need to make sure that the thread is coming from the back, not from the front. From the back. Let me show it to you.
You must lift the spool pin before putting the thread on. Failure to do so will keep your machine from sewing properly. Put your thread on the spool pin, making sure your thread is pulling from the back. Then pull the thread through the thread guide and wrap it clockwise around the guide, leading toward the bobbin winder. There are two ways to secure the thread to the bobbin. Either thread it through the hole in the top of the bobbin, leaving an end, or simply wind the thread around the bobbin several times, going in a clockwise direction.
Now comes the fun part. Step on the foot pedal.
The bobbin will automatically stop winding once it's full. Lift your foot off the foot pedal, move the bobbin to the left, and take the bobbin off the winder. Now that you're done, clip the thread and get ready to load the bobbin. First, lift the bobbin plate like so. Pull the plate back, and that opens the bobbin case.
If you weren't learning to sew, you probably would go throughout your entire life not knowing that there's actually a right direction and a wrong direction to put your bobbin in the bobbin casing. Now, if you're sewing and you get a whole bunch of threads all coming out all over the place and it's gummy, that's possibly because you put your bobbin in the wrong way. So pay attention to this next part. I'll walk you step by step through the process to make sure that you put your bobbin in the bobbin case the right way.
Notice the thread is pulling to the front on the front side of the bobbin. That's the wrong way. Don't load it like that. Instead, make sure the thread is pulling from the back side of the bobbin like this before you load it. Now that your bobbin is facing the correct direction with the thread pulling from the back, drop it into the bobbin case. Look for the small slit at the front of the bobbin case. It looks like this. Pull the thread around to pass through the slit and then bring it up, following the line to the left on the needle plate. There's a blade to clip the end of the thread at the end of that line. Replace the bobbin plate by pushing it back into place and get ready to thread your machine.
If you got through all of that, congratulations, you're halfway done. Now it's time to thread your machine. When you get good at this, it actually goes really fast. There we go.
Before threading, make sure the bobbin winder is moved to the left. Also, make sure your thread is on the spool pin pulling from the back and unwound from the bobbin guide. Pull the thread through the first thread guide and then down the first channel. And around the round gauge. Then up through the hook that is on the inside of that channel. If you look closely, you can see the hook inside the channel. One way to make sure the thread goes through the hook in that channel is to hug the right side of the channel on your way up and hug the left side of the channel on your way down. Let's watch the way the thread moves through all the channels. Move the thread down to a hook just above the needle area. Bring the thread to the back of the hook above the needle and bring the thread forward to snap into place. Thread the needle, putting it through the eye of the needle from the front to the back. That's very important. And pull it through. Sometimes it takes a few tries, but be patient and you'll get it. Before sewing, bring the bobbin thread up by cranking the hand wheel always towards yourself so the needle goes into the needle plate and back out. That will bring the bobbin thread up. You can use your finger to grab it and bring it over, but sometimes it's difficult to see. I'll remove the presser foot and maybe you can see the small thread coming from the bobbin. It's not necessary to pull the bobbin threads all the way up and through, but it does keep your threads better sorted to pull the top thread through the slit in the presser foot.
Great job, you did it. You have just threaded your machine. You're such a rock star. So practice that about 55 or maybe 172 more times until you have it down. And then meet me back here for the next video where I'm gonna show you sewing skills that are sort of like race car driving skills. You're gonna bury the needle, step on the gas, learn how to sew straight, and turn some corners.